Hello, I'm Karina.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome to As Told by ADHD. This podcast is the brainchild of two best friends with ADHD who share a passion for learning and a knack for finding the most fascinating tidbits of knowledge.
Each week, we embark on a wild and hilarious journey of discovery as we dive headfirst into topics that pique our curiosity. From dark folklore to bizarre statistics, cultural ceremonies to famous dead people, we're here to entertain, educate, and tickle your funny bone.
This week on As Told by ADHD, we're doing part 2 of cults.
Part 2 of cults. Exactly. I wonder how many things I can do that you copy before
Probably
we start.
everything. Because it makes it funny. It's dry humor.
Oh, we can touch it.
Wait, we're touching on opposite ends. This way. This
No,
way.
the other side.
What? No.
For me, you're on this side.
For me, you're on this side.
I can do this. We're crazy. Anyway, welcome aboard. We will be flying internationally. Get ready. Buckle your seatbelts. We're flying to Japan.
Let's go!
Did that sound like one of those like pre-recorded
You did.
like, flights?
That was really good. That was really
Yeah.
good.
I should be hired as a voice actor if anybody wants to do that, to hire me to be voice
Ditto.
actor. I could do that for
Ditto.
fun, and I knew you could pay me, and it'd be great.
Ditto.
So, I'm really good at voices. Anyway, back to cults. So we're gonna take it all the way back to 1955, when a little boy was born. His name was. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say his name.
You're gonna do it.
I'm struggling. I can say the last name.
This is the thing. We're literate, we swear, but we cannot
Yeah.
pronounce names to save our lives.
And also it's Japanese, and I want everybody to forgive me for my pronunciations if they're really bad. I'm gonna try, and I searched all of these, but I do not know if I'm correct. I'm struggling.
Technical difficulties.
Chizuo. That's how I'm going to say it. And I'm going to call him by his last name for the most part. Chizuo Matsumoto. Chizuo Matsumoto is his name. And I did struggle, but we got there. He was born on March 2nd.
Can we call him Chi-Chi for short?
Definitely not.
Oh.
He was born on March 2nd, 1955, which makes him a Pisces, if you're wondering. He was born as the 6th son out of 7 children, and there's not a ton about his childhood, but he was born with infantile glaucoma, which is a degenerative eye disease. When he was born, he lost almost all of his vision in his left eye, and then in his right eye, he could still see, but it wasn't great. And then by the age of like 6, he could not see out of his left eye at all. Yeah, pretty sad. But he wasn't the only one in his household that was born with this disease. And like, if you're wondering what it is, it's like a rare eye condition that like you get at birth. And like, I don't fully understand it because I'm not a doctor, but apparently your eyes need to drain. News to me. But it's like your eye is improperly draining, like it's fluids, and so then the pressure builds up and then you lose your vision. So that's crazy. I didn't know eyeballs needed to drain, but here we are.
Yeah, I thought they drained through tears. Involuntary tears, like when you're just
But like
chilling.
that's its own duct. Like you would think, but it's like I don't know how eyeballs work. You could put a diagram in front of me and I could not point you in the right direction, and that's just how it is.
It is. That's fine.
I can tell you what the iris is, maybe. I can tell you what the pupil is, for sure. For sure. But that's kind of like the base like the basics that we know for sure. There was a lot of other random things about his childhood that like I only heard or read in some places versus like hearing or reading it in other places. So like that's just what we know for certain. And throughout his childhood and his adulthood, he slowly started losing vision in his right eye as well. So let's flash forward to the early 1980s. Matsumoto became more spiritual, collecting practices from Buddhism and Hinduism and Christianity. And he started to like morph it into its own thing. It was mostly like yoga and meditation mixed with teachings from the Christian Bible. He picked and chose what he wanted, and then he put it and made it its own thing.
Okay.
And then in 1984, Matsumoto founded a group called Aum Shinsen no Kai, which roughly translated to either Immortal Mountain Wizard Association or Immortal Mountain Hermit Association.
What the heck?
So, like, I think it's just like it doesn't directly translate, and so people were like trying to like make it work.
Okay.
But basically he was like trying to give the illusion of like this group is like you can have a mortal life with it, and it's like as strong as a mountain, and like we're like doing our own thing kind of thing, right? So like I said, it was mainly yoga and meditation. Around like 1987, he heavily leaned into his own version of the Hinduism, Buddhism, and he honed in on Revelation, the book of Revelation in the Christian Bible. So like he was like, this makes a lot of sense. Like, and at this same time, he was like traveling around, and he met the Dalai Lama, and like he was just searching for this spiritualism that led to enlightenment is what he was searching for, and he never found it individually in all of these. So he really started to dig into what resonated with him, and he ended up changing his name to Shoko Asahara. And he changed the religious group's name as well to Aum Shinrikyo. Aum Shinrikyo. Aum Shinrikyo, I think is how you say it. And then he ended up going on a trip to India in 1987. And when he came back, he was like, I have reached enlightenment. And he is like, I can teach you my ways. He ends up releasing a photo of him meditating and levitating at the same time. And I really want you to see this picture. So I'm going to send it to you so you can see it and I can get your live reaction.
Okay.
So the picture I just sent you is a picture of him levitating as he meditates. Yeah.
That dude looks like he let out the maddest fart.
And it's what's levitating him.
Exactly. Look at his face.
I know. But he's just meditating so hard.
No. No, he's shorting.
So he releases that photo and people start to believe it. They're like, oh my God, this man can levitate. I gotta get in on this. And also, like, around this time, there was a lot, like you said, there was a lot of pressure societally about, like, in the Eastern cultures of, like, you work, you keep working, and you keep going, and you keep working, and you fuel the system is basically like, and like if you don't, then you're not a productive member of a society and you're shunned, basically. So that's kind of like where people are. And so there were a lot of people looking for something other than like the day-to-day, let me go to school, go to work, have a family, have children, and like the monotony. They wanted away from that monotony. So people started being like, if he can do that, that's super cool. I want in. So he started to gain a little bit of momentum, and he ended up offering like a different lifestyle that was more calm. It was less stressful, so people really leaned into it. One of his main teaching points was that you need to give up your material things in order to be happy, because material things will never fulfill you, and you will never be truly happy until you give it up. And that is usually the main trope of these religious cults, is like, you need to give up all your things, and like
you need to give up everything so that way you can't leave because you don't have money, you don't have a house, you don't have a job.
Right. That's basically it. And he would offer multi-day yoga seminars that people could pay for. They could go and learn yoga from this yoga master who's mostly blind at this point. And he would go and do interviews on TV stations, like news stations and like talk shows. He would go and he would spread the word of his supernatural talents. I say with quotation marks.
I'm sorry to do such a stink face, but
No. It's and like the way I feel like I want to tell this story is like, I know I'm being a little condescending with it because it's just so out of my realm of possibility to like look at this guy, this picture of this guy, which we should have it up on our Instagram by the time this comes out, looking like he's farting or constipated or something, and pass it as like, I'm levitating because
he literally
I'm
hasn't farted in 20 years. That's what his face looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, that's cool and all, but he was basically saying he could perform miracles. And I watched this one video of him on this talk show where he was like talking with a guy who was the main guy, and there was this woman laying on like one of like a little, like a thin, like bedding kind of thing. She was laying on it, and she looked like she was passed out. Like she looked like she was like not conscious. And he, like, it in the video clip, it didn't explain what what her problem was or anything, or who she was. It just showed him, he took his thumb and put it on her forehead, and he started like rubbing it like very vigorously, and she starts convulsing, and she's like fully convulsing. He stops, and she like calms down. She's still passed out, and then the talk show guy's like, whoa, that's crazy, is she okay? And he's like, she just needs to rest now. And I was like,
Paid actress much?
oh, probably not paid. Probably just a cult member.
Oh, so you don't know, it doesn't say if it was like a man on the street or if it was a cult leader or anything like that.
No, the guy who was doing that,
Or not cult leader, cult member is what I meant to say.
yeah. So that was kind of crazy. And then they started to get into like more extreme rituals and practices, one of which was having the cult members soak themselves in a bath for hours that was like 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. And for our friends who are not in the USA, because everybody else uses the other system, that would be like 50 degrees Celsius. So they had this practice of getting in these baths for hours at this temperature, and one cult member ended up dying.
Of course.
Right. And at this point, they were starting to get a little scrutiny from the public. So they were like, well, we can't let people know this woman died. So, like, they ended up burning her body, and the bones that were left, they had other cult members grind the bones up to, like, dust, and they spread it in a lake. Yeah.
What about this woman's family? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, at this point, it gotten to the point where the cult members, because, like, okay, a lot of these people were either ostracized by their family for choosing a different path, or they cut their own family off because they felt misunderstood. So, like, all of these people, they didn't have any contact with anybody outside of the cult, really. Which really sucks, honestly. So that was the first death to do with the cult. And then soon after, one of the cult members who saw this woman die, he was, like, freaked out about it. He was like, she was my friend, and I don't think I want to be here anymore. So he goes to Asahara, and he's like, I want to leave. I want to leave, and I don't want to be here anymore, so I'm going to leave. And he's like, no. So he ends up sending some of his, like, most trusted people, and they suffocate him. Just full-on murder him. So he ended up catching the attention of a lawyer, Tsutsumi Sakimoto. And Sakimoto was he was known as what, at the time, as an anti-cult lawyer. And I didn't know that was a thing, but really cool. Good for Japan.
Right.
And he had a trial that was with this cult, and he claimed that cult they were being held against their will. And he ended up winning that case, and it shut down that cult. They lost a lot of money.
Wow.
Because of this lawyer. And then this lawyer was like, something's off about this guy and about this organization. So he turned his attention on Asahara and the Aum cult, and he started claiming that he believed that people were joining not but out of free will, but through coercion, manipulation, and he basically just said that he believed that they were being held, or they were being brought in through manipulation and coercion.
He had the recipe for the wannabe god. Cult leader, aka wannabe god.
Right. And something I forgot to mention earlier is that Asahara, he was so charismatic. Like, he was one of those people that, like, he could talk to you and convince you of anything he wanted.
Especially because he was disabled too. Like,
right,
he wasn't like this model. He wasn't like, this on-screen personality. Like, that he was more relatable because he was average and he had an illness. And so Sakamoto decided to set up an organization for the victims so he could, like, help them get out if they needed to. He never tried to force anybody out, but if people were trying to get out and came to him, he would, like, have a fund for them to, like, be able to get out. So he's a really good guy. And that was in 1988. So within that year, all of that started happening. So I think the timeline, from what I understand, is they started filing the lawsuits, and then the woman died, and they were like, well, we can't let people know that this is happening because it proves this guy right. Right.
And so that's why they got rid of the body. And then they were like, if this guy leaves, he's going to tell people that she died, so we have to kill him. So it was kind of out of survival for them. Like, they felt like they had to do those things, even though I disagree.
I do too. Death is never the answer. Murder is never the answer.
Oh, it gets worse. A lot worse. So also while all of this is happening, Asahara is trying to get recognition from the government as a religious group so they could be tax exempt. Right? And sorry, I was reading ahead and there's something hilarious later. So they're trying to get recognized as a religious group at the time. And if this lawsuit is successful, then they lose that ability and they can no longer do that. So they're really like freaking out about it. And at this point in time, Sakimoto, he court orders a blood test because, as I said earlier, Asahara is going around being like, I'm supernatural. You could see it in my DNA. It's all in my body. Like, I'm so powerful. So, Sakamoto is like, well, give me your blood. Let's find out. So he does a blood test and proves that this man is lying. He is normal as fuck. He is the most normal blood that you could find. Like, right. And so the lawyer goes on TV or on the news, and he's like debuting this news, and somehow Asahara finds out about it, and he's like, shut it down. Any means necessary, shut it down. So his people go to the station and they're like, please don't air this. And they're like, I don't know. So I don't know how, but I don't think it ends up getting aired. However, they're like, shut it down. And he's like, yeah, shut it down. So he basically gives a kill order for this attorney. And they planned there was like 7 men showed up at a train station, and they were like, okay. They had like syringes of, I think it was potassium chloride. And they were like, okay, we're going to go inject this into him. He's going to die. It'll be over. But the day that they go to do this, it's on the train to his commute to and from work, and they go early in the morning to try to catch him, but it's a holiday. He's not working that day. So he stays home. So they go back to, right, well, they go back to Asahara, and they're like, he wasn't there. And he's like, go to his house. So 3 a.m., they go to his house, and he's there with his wife and his son, and they inject the wife and son, and the son is like a baby. They inject the wife and son with the potassium chloride, and the son dies almost immediately. The wife fights a little bit, but ends up dying pretty quick after that. And then they inject Sakamoto, and he is still fighting. And he is like, I have to live. I have to bring them to justice. Like this is not right. And he's got like 5 to 7 men on top of him trying to like inject him with more stuff. And like, it's just nothing's working. And then eventually one of them, I think, gets the sheet and wraps it around his neck and strangles him. Right.
Bro.
And this is good for the cult because the charges get dropped.
Because he died. Like, it should be so much more sus. It should be so much more sus.
Right. But so they took the bodies with them and they put them in like these drum barrels and hid them throughout the country in 3 separate locations. So, and they weren't found until 6 years after the big event that I'm going to tell you about later. So they didn't know what happened to him. They didn't know he died. There wasn't any blood from what I understood. It was more of like inject him, kill him, take his body. Like, so that happened. They end up getting approved by the government about they are now recognized as a religion in Japan. And this kind of skyrockets their popularity. In 1990, we kind of enter an economic downfall in Japan, which, if you know anything about like poverty, it's going to push people to do things that they're not used to doing, or they didn't think they would be capable of doing. And people start joining this cult in droves. And he has several businesses at this point under the name of his cult, which don't have to pay taxes now.
Wow.
And he's got restaurants. I think he's got tech companies. Like, he's gaining a lot of momentum. And he would hire people with really good prices and slowly convince them to join this cult under one condition. You have to sign away all of your estate to Asahara and the cult. So that's fun. And then he's hella rich now. He's like almost a billionaire at this point. Like,
wow.
Yeah. Not only that, he's like, I want to reach a wider audience. I want more people to join my religion. And in 1991, he ends up creating an anime series called Choetsu Sekai. And it's basically his story of enlightenment. And it ends up bringing even more people in.
Really?
And like, yes. And it's like,
did he buy out a TV station? Like, what?
No, he like commissioned people to make this for him. And he had so many people. He had tech companies under his control.
True.
He just was like, I want this. And it happened.
That's crazy.
Right. And at this point, and also, side note, ended up being 10 episodes of this anime. And it really like brought more people in. Like, he was like, I think at this point he had over 1,000 followers. Like, it was a massive movement. They ended up reaching out to like Russia. Like, they like sent people to Russia.
Wait,
and they
1,000 or more than 1,000?
Like over 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they end up reaching out into, like, they try to broaden their horizons of like, okay, we're going to go to Russia and try to start some stuff there. And when he came back from Russia, this is where things get radical. Like, his way of thinking fully like takes a left turn, and he tries to join the political sphere, and it failed. He was not elected into power.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he prophesied that in 1997, the U.S. would lay waste to Japan with nuclear bombs, and that the cult would rebuild society. So that was his prophecy. It's 1992 now, and he's like, I can't wait for this. Like, we need to speed things up. Mm-hmm. So he hears about the Ebola outbreak in Africa, and he's like, okay, I need all my people to go. You're gonna spread the good gospel of my word. It's going to be great. They go, and most of them are doing what he said. Like, they're there to help. They're there to, like, help these people. They're there to try to nurse people back to health. However, some of them were tasked, it was like his most trusted people were tasked with getting samples of this Ebola so he could use it as a bio weapon. Because he wanted to start a war. That is what he wanted. And so that ends up failing. So they're like, okay, what do we do? And one of his most trusted people was a chemist and a scientist. And he was like, I have an idea. So they ended up manufacturing a nerve gas. And it was successful. Or they tried to do several different nerve gases. And in 1993, they tried to make this synthetic anthrax that was like airborne so they could kill as many people as they wanted to. And one of the buildings that he owned, they were like, okay, go here, start to make this stuff, and then let's see how that works. So they were making it inside this building, and it's like 5-6 stories high. And then one day, like, mist starts coming from the top of the building. It's like a thick mist, like something's being created in there, right? And people are like, from what I could tell, it isn't like a bad smell, but like, it's just like people started feeling bad. They got super nauseous. Some people were vomiting. Pets were getting sick. And the local environmental government was like, we're getting 118 complaints. They were like, something's wrong. And then eventually, after a couple of days of like investigation, they found out that whatever is causing this is coming from this building. So they try to go in to investigate, and they're like, you're not coming in here. And they were like, but like, why? And they were like, no, you're not. Bye.
This is a religious property. Leave.
Basically.
By the government.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Eventually, they notice that there's this black sludge coming from, like, that's like drip. So like there's like a chimney that's shooting mist into the air, and this black sludge is oozing down the side of the building. And they're like, okay, nope, you gotta evacuate, you gotta clean up, you gotta go. You no longer have this property. We're confiscating it, and we're gonna clean this neighborhood up because we're not doing this. And so he ended up having to vacate that property. And nobody died in that attack. And they were like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. What are we going to do? And he was like, okay, what if we attack the subway systems? Because everybody uses the subway systems. And they're like, okay, how do we do that? So they end up creating a liquid sarin nerve gas. Do you know what that is?
A liquid, say that again.
A liquid sarin nerve agent.
No.
So sarin is this very, very toxic substance, and it's very deadly to humans. In a liquid form, if it touches you, like, you have reaction to it. If it's a gas, you inhale it, and like it happens so fast, you don't even like know what's going on, right? So on March 20th, 1995, at 5:30 in the morning, 5 agents or members start to make their way to the subway station. And they are sent on 5 separate trains with a a plastic bag full of this sarin liquid, and it's wrapped in newspaper, and they have an umbrella that the tip has been sharpened, like very sharpened. And the thing about the gas that they created, or the liquid that they created, once it's exposed to the air, it creates a gas that's invisible, odorless, and it just spreads really fast. So what they were supposed to do is they were supposed to get on the train, go one stop, drop it, puncture it, and get out before they inhaled it. So that's what they did. They punctured it, and they all went to where their designated getaway drivers were. And because these people were like knew exactly what they were doing, nobody noticed them. Nobody noticed, like, it took the police several days, I think like 3 to 5 days, for them to figure out, oh, these people are who did this. These people are carrying this in these videos that we have, and they're the reason why this has happened. And so they end up connecting it to the cult. And that's kind of where the cult starts to fully downfall. Asahara ends up getting charged with masterminding the Tokyo subway train attack, ordering multiple murders, and illegal production of weapons and chemicals, because also they were trying to like steal weapons and make weapons like guns and things. I don't think that ever panned out.
I mean, I wouldn't think so. It's really hard to get weapons like that in Asian countries.
Yeah. And he was charged with a couple other crimes, and his trial lasted over 8 years.
Like, because of like evidence, or?
I'm not really sure. I don't think there was a lot of translations. 8
years. That is insane.
Mm-hmm. And he often refused to speak or respond coherently. And he also was like...
that would be a reason why it lasted 8 years then, if you just like...
Yeah. But also, he... when, like, before he was arrested, he was like, I couldn't possibly do that. I'm blind. Because by 1990, he was fully blind. Like, he couldn't see anything anymore. And this is 1995 when that happens. So he's like, I'm blind. Like, why? Like, I couldn't do that.
Wow.
Clearly didn't work, because he ended up getting convicted February of 2004.
Heck yeah, boy.
And I did a little research, not 100% sure. Like, I didn't do a ton of research on it, so I don't know if this is, like, fact or not. But I read somewhere that they had not done any executions in Japan since World War II. However, Asahara was sentenced to death by hanging. Yeah. And he was executed.
That's medieval.
Yeah. He was executed July 6th of 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he lived a really long life, even though...
Yeah. There were several other people who were convicted, 12 of which also got executed by hanging. A lot of them, I think about half of them, were executed the same day in 2018, and the other half were like a few weeks later. While there were some others that, like, I think there was like, I think this says that there was 108 members that were arrested, but they were not sentenced to execution or anything. Some of them have really long prison sentences, and But most of them are men because for some reason they kept women out of the murderous decisions
It was
that they
probably
had.
like a power thing, but luckily for the women, they were able to kind of get out scot-free, even though they probably were all about it for the sake of the cult, but...
Right. And I purposely didn't say this earlier because I kind of wanted to, like, give the illusion that this guy was, like, super charismatic and, like, really, like, lovable and everybody, like, loved to talk to him. But there were reports that he was a bully in school.
Well, that would make sense.
Right. Not only that, when he later moved to Tokyo, he started practicing Eastern medicines, so like a lot of Chinese medicines and things, and he ended up getting arrested and served a little bit of time for selling fake remedies to people. So
fraud.
Yeah. And like that just kind of proves that like if you have good charisma, you can kind of get away with anything for a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately. And you know what's even crazier?
What?
So your story ended with, oh, these people are still around. So are these people.
Oh my gosh, really?
Except, so it's the people who weren't, they weren't a part of because like it was like a very secret inner circle that did all of those things.
Well, yeah, because he wanted his prophecies to come true, so that makes sense.
Right. So it's like a very, like, all of the people who were involved in the terroristic attack, they were convicted and are no longer either with us or no longer in the civilization. However, there are now, like, sects of this religion, and they use the same teachings that Asahara had before he went to Russia. So like we gotta have like no materialistic things and meditate and yoga. So it's the more peaceful version.
What's it called though?
There's a couple of them. So there's one called Alpha kind of, but it's spelled Aleph. There's Hikari no Wa, which translates to Ring of Light. And then there is Yamadra no Shudan.
Okay.
And those are the three that have developed from the Aum cult.
Still, you can participate all you want, but don't get sucked in when they start asking you for your money and telling you to leave everything to them, not behind, to them on a silver platter. You gotta get out. Gotta leave.
And that is my story. And I think that's crazy.
That's insane.
I know. Cults are crazy.
Like, people...
Justice, you know?
Yeah, and I'm happy justice was served. But it's like... I don't know. All of the cult leaders are the same. There's not, like... Characteristics are all the same. There's not somebody who... maybe hasn't had God come talk to them and share prophecy. You know, it's all the same. All of it's enlightenment. All of this is like, aha, I see now. I've been given sight that no one has.
Yeah.
That was crazy. A good story.
Dang.
Justice was served.
Justice was served. And so the people, I saw an interview with one of the former members that still practice. And he was like, I do not condone any of the things that he did. I just appreciate some of the teachings he had, and I've taken that, and me and this group have really stuck to the principles of loving, kind people who just want to meditate and do yoga.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So at least they're condemning it.
Yeah. At least. But what have you done nice for yourself today?
Me? Oh, them.
And you.
Oh, and me. Okay. Today, I actually took the day off today. Today, I had like a 2-week vacation, a staycation, if you will. And I was just like, I need a break from work. I need time to do my own thing, figure out my life. And I took that for myself.
Yes, sir.
What have you done?
I got my favorite matcha today, and it was the best thing ever. Don't necessarily have it in the budget, but I did it anyways, and I don't regret it. And then
Sometimes it's the little things.
Yeah, it's the little things. It literally, instant dopamine. As soon as I took a sip, I was just like, oh my god, I'm so happy right now.
Hell yeah.
So, and then my walk this morning was so nice. It was a couple miles. I went around the back of, like, there's back trails. You can go like this, and it was really, really, really nice. So that's what I did for myself. What did you do for yourself?
Yeah,
people?
what'd you do? Tell me right now.
What'd you do? I can't hear.
I want to hear it. Write
you
it in the
drink
comments.
water? Where's your
Yeah,
water?
drink water right now.
Take care of business. Look how charismatic
Right this
we are.
second.
Did you want to drink water because they're telling you to drink water?
Exactly. Do it. Unless you have ADHD, then don't do it. Don't
you
even
do it.
think about it.
But
Reverse psychology.
I know, right? But I hope you guys enjoyed our part 2.
It was
guys take
longer
care.
than the part 1, and I apologize because I'm a yapper.
I mean, research is research.
Research is
Information is important.
And we
But,
got justice.
And he got justice. Very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Medieval stuff, but you
In
guys
2018 of all
I
years.
know. I was thinking it would be
Crazy.
like 90s is a little late, but I was thinking maybe early 2000s. Nope. 2018.
Crazy.
Anyways, take care of yourself, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
I can't top that.
Do it.
Goodbye.
Okay, Diana Ross.
I know,
From
right?
the 2 episodes ago.
I don't have my hair is up. Toss, toss.
Shake. Toss, toss.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.